Hello everyone, my name's General Gordon Messenger and I am the United Kingdom Vice Chief of Defence Staff, and it's my absolute pleasure to have the opportunity to address the NATO Committee on Gender Perspectives, because what you do is vital, and I am a huge supporter and have been for many years now of the work that you do, and specifically of the Women, Peace and Security agenda under Security Council Resolution 1325 at the United Nations. Violence against vulnerable people in conflict is a reality for huge swathes of people around the world, particularly against women and girls. Rape is still used as a weapon of war in conflicts around the world, and too often a blind eye is turned to that atrocious behaviour that affects people's lives forever. It's of course about violence, but it's also about incorporating gender perspectives, and women and the perspectives of women have a vital part to play in modern operations. When you look at the role that women have and can play in conflict resolution, when you look at their role in the culture of an area where we might be operating, when you look at women as a source of information, intelligence and insight into where we work, there is a huge combat multiplier effect by properly incorporating gender perspectives into our thinking and decision making. I remember when I was in Afghanistan, we just simply didn't have access to 50% of the population because we were too poor at incorporating gender perspectives into what we did. And then the third element is it's about improving the participation of women in our operations, in our forces. Because by properly integrating women into the front line, that gives access to those gender perspectives of the cultures and the communities that we're working with. So it's vital business, and it's about being more effective as a military. It's not about political correctness, I can absolutely assure you of that. The 3 points I would like to make are: firstly, this is not a military business, but militaries really matter in this space. Our armed forces are more likely to encounter both victims and perpetrators, and it's important that we know how to deal with them. It's also important that the armed forces position themselves in a place of trust with the communities that they're working in, and having that gender awareness is an important part of that trust of the entirety of the population that we're working with. So that's important. The second thing is important is that men, as champions of this agenda, make a real difference. It's a fact, it's an unfortunate fact, but it's a fact that most of the senior people in our militaries are men. And it is vital that this isn't seen as peripheral business delivered by the women in our militaries or in our structures. For men to get out there and start championing this as an issue is a really important part of it. And then the third vital component is that it is an international business, and internationalising our approach to women, peace and security is vital if we're to get the message out to all militaries around the world, not just those that we spend most time with. So it's for that reason that I and my counterparts from Canada and Bangladesh formed the Women, Peace and Security Chief of Defence Network at the United Nations Summit in Vancouver last year. It is there to bring together the senior leadership of militaries around the world and really enhance the awareness and the effect of the women, peace and security and the gender perspective emphasis that we feel is so important. It is about promoting change in our militaries, and some militaries need that change more than others. It is about sharing best practice and experiences and knowledge to ensure that we are properly explaining the criticality of this work. And it is also about putting the armed forces at the heart of our nation's approach to women, peace and security. As I said, it's not solely military business, but the armed forces need to carve out their places as being at the heart of our nation's response to this. So I'm delighted to hear of the enthusiasm of NATO to the CHODs network. I've known how important the gender perspective has been to NATO over many years, and I think this will bring a degree of sort of structure and hopefully a plug-in point for the Chiefs of Defence of the various nations. So I'm hugely encouraged, and I invite you all, for those of you who haven't joined, to consider in doing so. You'd be warmly welcome, and I'm sure you would get some value from it. That was all I was going to say. Thank you for listening. The UK is determined to play a leading role in this and will continue to do so across government. And I am committed to playing my part in that on behalf of the UK military. I hope you feel that senior leaders from your nations are able to do the same. Thank you for listening.